跟那个南韩的陈总统碰面的后续也是7个以外，在哪边谈？
那一天没有吃到，就是。
麦考是哪一个？
我不在，我要看一下而已。OK， 走中间就对了，走在那个。
反正走
对啊，
游行会旁边那个是
对啊。
走游戏馆旁边那个。
有新闻现在在里面。
他们最后一条说美美主义这种事情也常发生。
是院长跟他一起吗？
副秘。
副秘，
院长在里面啊，你在行上。
哦，什么？
那不是要开鼓掌欢迎吗？对不对？像院长要说。
那我们这边不用了，
我
们这边不用了，跟里面的。
没有，现在说要正面，可是我不知道等下会不会改，这样越来越大。
对啊，越来越大。
现在改好了，都拍了。
好，改好了，给这样拍就好了。你看，我们还有那个蒋万安跟谢国良，你看。
我去前面看下车。
也是好轻，为什么不轻？那个场地是。
哦，对啊，好难哦。
对啊，好轻啊。
因为他
不伸闪，好不错。
好，那顺了，那真的好。不畏风雨来台啊，多棒！
不畏风雨来台，好，标语都下降。
还有机会难得呢，这么多媒体，遮到脸就不好看了。我得到的讯息是这样子。
美国的 cowboy 多屌！
这个是主席啊，麦考尔。
应该就是
你看不票好的，拿一张有可能。
清远他长什么样？
报纸今天的报纸头版有。
哪有报纸头版是麦卡锡？
那个自由还是中时？这个啦。
我们家是放那个麦卡锡。
如果像你这样子，你要跟你去中国。
麦卡锡用美联社，没有用中色。我看到你。
以前。
我要称赞你们家那个字幕上最快的，新闻发生后2个半小时就是全世界第1快。
妈的，中色太不快了。
上次那个拜登也是你们最快，2小时就。
因为我们外文部晚上都有人在。
通常我们英文都没办法，才字幕。
我们外文部是24小时都有人在。
而且你们的那个外文部真的蛮严谨，他用那个翻译都是比较外交，比较严谨的。就这样要退一点。
你们再往后拉点哦。
是被分到的。对啊，
太大。再喝点。
开心。
那个把它往后拉没一点，那个。
哎，他们来了，他们好像来了。车子好像。
车来了。
没关系，反正他们应该不会走。照这个用跑的过来要直接打。
有效距离是在1半的，你看远的也太大了。
一般的还多嘞。一般还多嘞。
我这台最中间这到那旁边黑的
500，哇塞，好拍了。
你说暗部吗？
可是以前不会啊。
500真的好拍。
因为那个反光板进光量比较高啊。
来啊！
小姐快一点，要快速度。
这不要掉了。
前面大哥。
绑得好干净。
前面大哥，你们在干嘛？
让开了啦。
让一下好吗？
跟处长讲一下啦。
一定会有人跌倒。
Hello。
叫下手啊！
挥手。
叫下手啦
！Hello。
下手，嘿。
不要再下路啊！这边稍微让一下路，你往那边请他们让一下路。
Sorry, we have to. 让水啊 ，this way,
please. 我走，我这边。结果。
好，谢谢。媒体请走这边好。
哎呀，给，救鬼，哥哥。 给你，
给你上，
给你，接过，接过。哎呀，这边过不去啊！哎，大哥，快点！大哥，不好意思。哎呀。哦，还是过去啊，救国家，谢谢。哎呦，哎呦，顾伟，那是我的位置，看，对吧
Hey, you know what? They're if they don't vote the right way, they kick you out.
拍手。
Right? That'd be helpful.
你们挡住了。
那个能不能移一下？因为我已经蹲下了，他看不到前面。对不起，
没有
，sorry，
不同情。
So how many seats in the parliament? It seems like
Well, it's a triple.
130
Usual.
just member.
Yes, the front lounge
Yes,
is for media
yes,
persons,
yes.
a registered media, and they are the only group can use the camera and footage for the footage.
I mean, on the floor though, it's more.
Okay. They are announced. She's announcing to welcome you.
Okay.
You see it?
Great.
Oh, not nice.
It's all speaker.
That was really cool.
Video photo.
That was awesome.
Sorry. Now, please be seated.
Right.
Please be seated. Speaker now announcing the KMT Congressman, Kennedy legislator now on the stand will place the questions to the Prime Minister, and he has in total 15 minutes to raise question, and the Prime Minister have to respond directly. If Prime Minister cannot respond, he will invite another staffer or a minister to go to the podium to respond. Yeah. So
Interesting.
each legislator have.
This is kind of more like the British Parliament stuff, you know, right?
Well, this is a special session because
Oh, it is?
Because this special session because the camera because our Prime Minister is newly inaugurated, so he will under the implementation for the annual policy and because it's a new cabinet, so the legislature will question him about all those policies. And today's subject for the legislature chair who's standing there is concerning about transportation. Because they belong to standing committees, transportation standing committee. They belong to the opposition party KMT. Yes. Sorry, I left you out. In the middle? Yes. And the big picture, let me introduce you. The big picture under our national flag is Dr. Sun Yat-sen, his founding father of the Republic, who initiated 10 revolution to overthrow Qing dynasty. So the portrait is for Dr. Sun Yat-sen, a founding father of the Republic of China. He himself is a medical doctor.
The Republic of China after 1979 Taiwan relations act.
We always use the Republic of China, Republic of China, but because to avoid people confused, so we have a quote-unquote Taiwan.
Yes.
His came to the 10th, right? And
you stand for election of the
Yes.
What's different than
Okay. There are 2 years. Okay.
and then the Senate next year?
10 years ago, we had 225 members.
The president sits for election at the same time as the
Now the majority in our
members of
Congress
all the
still is
elections.
the DPP.
That's what
Now at the same time.
It's a DPP. So which means Chai's administration, President Chai's administration belong to DPP, and so is the Congress. So actually, DPP has a full control of the policy.
the chamber.
Yeah.
How big of a majority?
How big is the majority?
Do they have?
68席。
68 sittings out of 113. 68.
Okay.
113.
I've been to 225. Like 10 years ago.
A little bit better.
You know what happens? They're going to vote against themselves. They're public. They're revising. Actually, they said they'll come back here
Maybe
to discuss, you know, the pros and cons.
30,000. Each district is about the same number.
Oh, I see. So looks like your members would be seated here.
Those are cabinet members. They're down there. They're down there. They're cabinet members. Okay. On the left,
And the
those
parliament's
seats are-
on the
That's cabinet members who invite the prime
up on the
minister here.
dais. Okay, on the left.
On the left. Actually, right, it's supposed to be full with cabinet members as well, but because they have focused down to the transportation issues, so we don't need everybody to be here. Because on the right are cabinet members without portfolio. Okay.
对，因为今天是只有委员会，所以只有交通的总讲会。如果总支局才会总会。
It's kind of, I guess it's a parliamentarian system, so.
How long have you been in the
So now the prime minister has to respond to the KMTs. So it's interesting they pull on the executive into the
31 years.
31 years?
Yes.
Long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
They held their conferences.
So they each have, like, so the way the House Senate, we have two from every state in the Senate, but they just have their own districts.
This is unicameral. This is unicameral.
Right.
Parliament,
So
yeah.
there's one.
Yes, just one.
So do you have? Do they just each represent their own districts?
那所以每个选区，那每个选区是多少人？30万。
30万左右。
So each constituencies will have one legislator elected. That's about 300,000 population. So
Okay.
for one legislator will be elected.
So we have about 700,000.
700,000. Oh, it's
Yeah.
double.
Or 750. Yeah.
California has 22 times bigger than
What's the population in Taiwan?
我们人口是
2330，现在。
23.3 million for Taiwan population right now. How many is a graduate after master degree from California State. So consider the second home.
Are you a dual citizen?
No.
Yeah, that's right. So where's the prime minister?
Today's special day. Don't afraid to disturb them. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, is the prime minister here or is designated to respond? You said the prime minister.
所以他说那个 对，所以那个我们的阁魁。
Oh, okay, that's him right there.
Yeah. So the tall chair, and see, he cannot respond the question all by himself. So he invited another staffer to come over to respond to the thorough questions and details.
Yeah.
He's newly elected. Appointed by the president.
So the PM.
Prime Minister is appointed by the president. Yeah. And actually, his formal title is Minister of Executive. Ministry under President's ruling. And actually, our parliament is one of them. But however, all our legislature actually is as big as the minister himself, right? Especially since we have to supervise the other ministry and also voice for people. So he is not really like the executive yuan or prime minister or doing whatever the president told him to do, right? So that's different. So our parliament is just like your parliament. Everybody elected from people, among people, so they're his own boss, right?
Do you have a minority leader? Yes,
Minority.
speaker, and is that the KMT?
Of course. Yeah. For biggest opposition party right now is the KMT. Yeah, of course. Each party here, they have their own caucus. So we have a caucus. We have a party whip and a party caucus convener. Yes, just like you.
So how big is your NPP party and the TPP?
You mean DPP and KMT?
No, the new young
The other
parties.
two. The smaller.
You mean the smaller part?
Yeah.
我们
3席，只有3席。
不是那两个小党是各是多少
3跟5。
3 and 5. 3 and 5. Well, at least 3 legislators in our parliament can form a caucus.
Form a caucus. And the role of the speaker when the prime minister is taking questions. The role of the speaker when the prime minister is taking questions is what?
The role of the speaker
Of the house.
Up here, like a speaker Yo, he's presiding the meeting. And he have to remain neutral.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he does.
He's literally just presiding the meeting, hosting the cross-party negotiation meeting.
So he can convene both parties if he needs to, I guess, or not?
Convene both parties.
Yeah. Can he? You said to if they want to negotiate a difference, can the speaker play a role?
They have a routine. 他说院长的话，可以召集他们来开会吗？召集不同的党派来开会吗？
就是政党协商，有议题的时候再协
Just
商。
on the if they have special issue to discuss about and will convene cross-party whip or party caucus convener for negotiate party. And in the past, that's a closed-door meeting, but now everything is transparent. And just like your C-SPAN will be on
Oh, is
website.
it televised the whole time?
It's all televised.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, live. Be careful.
Well, I think we're being televised
We're
right
being
now.
televised right now. So.
If you haven't noticed. It's a little subtle.
It's so ambiguous.
And the people are watching.
Needs some clarity.
I think industry, we should finally talk about clarity.
Yeah, I get kind of rained.
没有，我在想，
Ambiguity
我在
provides
想
flexibility. It means we can arm them, but are we going to potentially?
Yes, I get the point that you keep it as big as possible with Chinese I think that message is already.
I'm not saying
等一下，你跟人讲，
but well, we have this.
这个就是现在所播的。
As consumer, like you download an app on your cell phone, so we can see, everybody can see from your cell phone about light transportation.
Oh yeah,
And transmitting about every, the
Yeah, we have.
and negotiation.
We finally got one of those about a year ago. How long have you had those?
我们有这个装置多久了？5年吗？我们有这个装置多久了？
2016。
Since 15.
Okay.
So you had that before we did.
You got a C-SPAN earlier than we did.
Because of all the semiconductors.
Yes.
No, sir. Half the cabinet would be sitting on that side as well.
Hey, Aisha, if you don't show up,
等一下，再1分钟，因为那边要2分钟。对，
miss a vote,
他
you
们2
get
分钟结束，
fined.
然后再要下去。对。
Well, not only that, if you vote the wrong way, the whip team can sort of take your medals off, and the party can
We're
decide.
going to have a very detailed conversation about what we're going to adopt.
I think it's $3,000.
He'd like that.
Guys can implement that on the Republican side.
Be prepared. It's coming in a few weeks.
Yeah, back when Tom DeLay was whipped, that's what we did.
Should we downstairs?
Yeah. Please be seated.
哦，呀，好混牛啊！要咩来啊？
后来我还会看到啊，所以我说我们就是总统会。
哦，叫乜混呢？
挂利亚的标准。
干爬山涉水，干饮料我处理啊，饮料我处理，看你遮辛苦，爬山涉水，干，惊。
开外面而已。
系啊，饮料要哪啦？真爽。干，你遐都无味啊！你干，笑。我来回讲，我怎么说还看到这个东西？
我等一下，我端脑等一下。
开那个。
哦，您在。
请工作人员尽速协助我们的访团及长官就定位。
真假？伊拢无来哦。
大一只是靠背。
我讲是讲无讲盖海啦，对。
这边有人，这边有人。
新闻网。
请工作人员协助从前方确认一下是不是后面的那个访团看到。
所以我们需要
自行，再往他们左边的2步，往他们的左边，
他们的左边，他们的左边。
对对，全部。Please move forward. 往左移动一点。
后面那2位。
院长已抵达我们的现场。President Yo has arrived. 各位现场的长官贵宾及媒体朋友，现在我们将要进行1场前的大合影，请媒体朋友们准备好镜头。Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take some group photos in front of the plenary hall. Look at the cameras in front.
可以吗？那个部长等下后面这一格因为被挡到了，这个 AIT 处长被挡到了。
Director Audrey.
OK， 下一个，好，谢谢。
后面不要动，
后面不要动，
媒体朋友这样可以吗？
可以。
好，让我们看向右方的镜头。Please look at the right camera. 谢谢。再让我们看向左方的镜头。Please look at your left hand. 好，最后我们再看一次中间的镜头。Let's look at the middle camera. Let's make a thumbs up gesture. 让我们比一个赞。好的，谢谢各位媒体朋友。在此呢，要特别跟大家宣布一下，今天正好是言论自由日。赵天麟委员准备了玫瑰花要致赠我们的访宾。Today is also Taiwanese Freedom of Speech Day. Legislator Zhao Tianling has prepared roses to give our distinguished guests. 我们稍后将拿着花再进行一次大合影。We will take your photos with the beautiful roses again. Please look at the cameras in front. 让我们看向前方的镜头。让我们看向右方的镜头。Please look at your right hand. 好，谢谢。再让我们看向左方的镜头。Please look at your left hand. 好，再让我们看一次中间。Please look at the middle. 好的，谢谢各位媒体朋友，合影到此告一个段落。有请院长及访谈一行前往简报室进行我们的媒体联访。That's all for the plenary whole session. Please follow with the staff to the next venue for a press conference. Thank you.
华山。不好意思。
对不起，我们这边前面把距离拉一下哈，
对，拉
谢谢。
推一点，推一点。
你们先到简报室。
小心哦哈。
我知道，谢谢。我知道。
有拍到掉。
好了 ，OK， 谢谢哦，谢谢，对不起。
这边找到。
对不起，好，谢谢。
对，而且跑得蛮快，而且一个。
Seeing you dressed up.
Yeah, I think you'll see more delegates.
Yeah, good. Oh, yeah.
还没落来吗？下令吗？
应该是看摆的话题才会下令。
不对了吗？安尼落来啊！我把它夹定，我把它放人，我把它夹定走啊。好，安尼就好啊。好啊。收歹趁啊咯！阿鲁，刚刚不好意思哎。
不会，我不知道你们会进来。我想说我在里面吗？
不是，我们家里直进。
啊，你家里直进？
新闻网直进啊。 我才冲进去啊！
我一时急，我以为你们是同一个。
没有啦，
你要叫他走开。
我说
他叫你走，
不是，
叫我走开。
我哭的迄块卡架，我的位袂当啊干。然后阿鲁讲，啊你们不是同一家，我没有啦。
各位长官、贵宾，敬请就座。Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you for your patience. 各位媒体朋友，大家好，感谢出席今天的记者会。首先邀请院长麦考尔主席、孙小雅处长移驾至台前。Dear media friends, welcome to the press conference. At the very beginning, I would like to invite Chairman McCall and Director Aldrich to President Yo to step to the front stage, please. 首先，让我们恭请由院长致辞。Firstly, please join me to welcome President Yo to deliver a welcome speech.
美国众议院外交委员会麦考尔主席阁下，还有金主席阁下，各位还有我们的这个孙小雅处长，各位贵宾、各位同仁、各位女士、各位先生、媒体的朋友。大家午安。
The Honorable Michael McCall, Chairman of the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee, the Honorable Congresswoman Kim, distinguished members of the delegation, the Honorable Senator Alkirk, Director of AIT, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good morning, good afternoon.
有机会与麦考尔主席及各位议员、贵宾阁下见面。十分感到非常荣幸，仅代表台湾国会向各位贵宾表达竭诚的欢迎。
I am honored to have the opportunity to meet with Chairman McCall and all the U.S. House representatives here today. On behalf of the Taiwanese Parliament, I would like to extend my sincere welcome to all of you.
过去我与麦考尔主席有过几次线上交流的经验，深交已久。最近有一批受中共迫害而辗转逃亡至泰国的五月花号宗教难民，我就曾经呼应麦考尔主席阁下的关注，呼吁国际共同关切中共迫害人权的恶行，所以今天的见面，我感觉一见如故。
I have had several exchanges online with Chairman McCall through the internet, and I have wanted to meet him in person for a while. Recently, a group of members of the Mayflower Church, a Chinese Christian church, fled religious persecution by the CCP and made their way to Thailand. After Chairman McCall called for action to protect these people, I also urged the international community to pay close attention to the CCP's horrendous violations of human rights. So meeting with Chairman McCall today feels like meeting with an old friend.
今天贵访问团莅临台湾进入立法院的议场，这是台湾关系法生效44年以来第一个进入台湾国会议场的外交委员会访问团，等于是为蒸蒸日上的台美关系做了一次最有力的见证，深具意义。
Today, you are the first U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee delegation to have entered the Legislative Yuan's debating chamber plenary hall since the Taiwan Relations Act took effect 44 years ago. This is a powerful testimony to the ever-growing Taiwan-U.S. relationship and holds great significance.
长久以来，麦考尔主席阁下是众议院中强有力的挺台支柱，经常领衔及联署与台湾相关的议案。阁下也是去年9月众议院版台湾政策法案的提案人，今天又亲自以行动传达美国国会对台湾的支持。在中共以战狼外交不断挑战全球和平稳定之际，主席的挺身而出，令人敬佩与感动。
Chairman McCall has long been a strong supporter of Taiwan in the House, often sponsoring and co-sponsoring bills related to Taiwan. He also introduced the House version of the Taiwan Policy Act last September. Today, he's physically here to demonstrate through action the support of the U.S. Congress for Taiwan. Amidst China's wolf warrior diplomacy and continued threats to global peace and stability, Chairman McCall's gesture is admirable and moving.
近10年来，全球民主版图有逐渐萎缩的迹象。俄罗斯入侵乌克兰后，中俄的合作已经成为全球民主国家的巨大威胁。2个礼拜前，就是3月23号，普习会更达成共同推动百年变局的共识。面对中俄两国联手意义改变既有的国际秩序之际，全球的民主国家更应该加强合作，携手抵御威权主义的扩张。
Over the past decade, there has been a global decline in democracy. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Russia-China cooperation has become a huge threat to democracies worldwide. 2 weeks ago, on March 23rd, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping held a meeting and talked about driving changes not seen in 100 years. In the face of China and Russia collaborating to change the international order, global democracies must strengthen cooperation and jointly resist the expansion of authoritarianism.
2006年，我曾经在美国传统基金会演讲，公开批评胡锦涛所提的和平崛起，提醒国际，和平崛起不一定带来和平，唯有民主崛起才是和平的保证。不幸严重，16年来，中共在国内变本加厉地迫害自由人权，在香港违反一国两制，在新疆遂行种族灭绝，并肆无忌惮地对外扩张。从孔子学院、“一带一路”战狼外交到南海违反无意军事化的对美承诺，已经充分证明中共没有民主自由内涵的和平崛起，只是一种骗术，不会真正带来和平。
In 2006, I gave a speech at the Heritage Foundation in the U.S., publicly criticizing Hu Jintao's proposal of China's peaceful rise. I urged the international community to remember that a peaceful rise does not necessarily bring peace and that only a democratic rise can guarantee peace. Unfortunately, my predictions were right. Over the past 16 years, the CCP has intensified its persecution of freedom and human rights within the country. The CCP's violation of the one country, two systems policy in Hong Kong, genocide in Xinjiang, and China's blatant expansionist ambitions from its Confucius Institute, the Belt and Road Initiative, wolf warrior diplomacy, to breaking its promise to the U.S. that it would not militarize the South China Sea. All of this has fully demonstrated that the CCP's peaceful rise without the values of democracy and freedom is just a scam that will never bring real peace.
自由民主与人权是人类文明的基石，呼吁全球爱好民主自由的人们应该更加强团结合作，才能够遏制威权独裁体制国家的步步进逼。最后， 再次感谢麦考主席阁下及各位贵宾对台湾的仗义力挺。台湾一定会为民主自由奋斗不懈，并期盼未来台美在无法六保证的架构上能有更多的合作，进入旅途愉快、平安顺心。Thank you very much.
Freedom, democracy, and human rights are the cornerstones of human civilization. I call on all the freedom and democracy-loving people around the world to work in solidarity to stop the threats and expansion of authoritarian regimes. In closing, I would like to thank Chairman McCall and all the distinguished guests for their staunch support of Taiwan. Taiwan will continue to strive tirelessly for freedom and democracy, and we look forward to more cooperation between Taiwan and the U.S. under the framework of the 5 Acts and the 6 Assurances. I wish you all a pleasant and safe journey. Thank you.
谢谢院长的致辞。接下来邀请麦卡尔主席致辞。Next, I would like to invite Chairman McCall to make a statement for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, that wonderful speech and recognizing us on the Parliament floor. I want to welcome the parliamentarians here as well. And on behalf of the entire delegation, thank you for that honor that you bestowed on us. And, you know, I think we need to come back to Taiwan more often. I've never had this kind of attention back home, for sure. But we stand as Americans. Oh, translation.
非常感谢尤院长刚才的致辞，也非常感谢今天能够在立法院这边接待我们代表团，也谢谢各位立法院的同仁。那我仅代表我们代表团，谢谢大家给予我们如此的殊荣。我觉得我们应该要常常来这里，因为在美国我们可没有这样子的高等待遇。
So our delegation, both Republicans and Democrats, we are not Republicans or Democrats here, sir. We are Americans standing in strong support for Taiwan.
虽然我们这一次的代表团里面有共和党员，也有民主党员，但我们今天来到这边不是以我们各自党员的身份，而是以一个强烈支持台湾的美国人的心态来到这里。
I'd like to applaud President Tsai in her recent trip to the United States for her moral vision, her courage, bravery to travel to the United States. It was received very well by all Americans in the United States.
在这里，我也要恭喜并赞扬蔡总统造访美国，他的有如此的远见，而且有如此的勇气，英勇的前行。这一次的访问过境，对整个美国人来说，大家的观点都是非常好的。
And we look forward to our visit with her tomorrow during our lunchtime. We're all very excited to see her.
我也非常期待我们明天在午餐时间能够与她会面，我们都非常的期待。
This morning we met with executives from semiconductor companies, technology, and aerospace and defense.
今天早上我们在早餐餐叙的时候，有与台湾的半导体科技产业、航太、国防等这些产业的人士会面。
With the passage of the CHIPS Act, we now see Taiwan companies expanding into the United States of America. These economic ties are vital to our alliance.
我们可以看到，现在有一些产业，台湾这边的经济这一边的公司已经进驻美国。我们可以看到台美之间这样子的经济关系，对我们来说是至关重要的。
And we want to move forward with things like a free trade agreement with Taiwan.
我们也希望能够尽快推动与台湾签订自由贸易协定。
And also a double taxation treaty that if you expand into the United States, you will not be taxed 2 times.
而且我们也会特别注意要处理双重课税这件事，让台湾公司如果去美国投资的话，不会再次被课税。
Now you mentioned this is the first Foreign Affairs Committee delegation of this size since the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979. I think that's very historic.
刚才尤院长提到， 这是自从1979年签订《台湾关系法》以来，我们第一次有这么大规模的外交委员团来访台湾，我觉得这是非常历史性的一刻。
For it was Congress, not the executive, that passed the Taiwan Relations Act in 1979 to enhance our relationship.
而当时就是由国会推动，在1979年的时候，我们推过了《台湾关系法》，而这一点非常的重要。
And it was Congress, not the executive, that passed the Taiwan Enhanced Resiliency Act.
而当时也同样是由，现在也同样是由国会，而非执政团队持续推动台湾的韧性关系法，能够维持我们台海关系，维持台美关系。
We share the same values as you eloquently mentioned of freedom, of democracy, and a respect for human rights.
我们也共享与游院长所提及的同样的价值，我们同样重视自由，我们同样重视民主，而且我们同样尊重人民的权利。
I think the reason why Communist China is envious of Taiwan is because they are free and democratic and successful, and they have the prosperity to do so.
而我认为中共之所以这么的惧怕台湾，主要就是因为台湾是自由、是民主的，是非常成功的，在经济上也相当的繁荣。
As you mentioned, we live in dangerous times.
正如游院长所提到的，我们现在生存的这个时代其实是相当危险的。
I often say the likes of which we haven't seen since my father's war, World War II.
我经常说，这是从我父亲所经历过的2次大战之后，我们未曾看到如此紧张的时刻。
We have the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the largest invasion in Europe since World War II.
例如，在欧洲这边，我们可以看到，自从2次大战之后，首次有如此大规模的由俄罗斯进攻乌克兰。
And now we have Communist China, as you mentioned, with its sights on Taiwan and the Pacific.
正如游院长刚才所提及的，在亚洲这边，我们也有中共，他们放眼想要觊觎台湾以及整个太平洋地区。
Deterrence is the key.
嚇阻是非常重要的关键。
When we project strength, we get peace.
当我们能够展现我们的力量，我们就能够维持和平。
If we project weakness, we invite aggression and war.
如果我们展现的是脆弱、是懦弱，那么我们招来的就会是战争。
We want to do everything in our power, standing together with you, to project strength to the Communist Party in China, that an invasion or aggression will not stand, it will not be tolerated, and through that, we will promote peace.
而我们想要尽我们的一切所能，与台湾站在一起。我们要展现出来的是力量，要让中共知道，我们绝对不会接受任何形式的进攻，而且我们也无法接受任何形式的进攻。我们希望能够继续努力维持和平。
So that's why we need to harden Taiwan through enhanced weapon sales that I sign off on.
这就是为什么我们要努力的透过我所签过的所有的军售案来强化台湾。
And also through joint training exercises.
还有透过我们联合的一些军事的训练。
Communist China needs to know that an invasion or blockade would come at too high of a price.
中共将会知道，无论是他们决定进攻台湾或是围堵台湾，代价都会非常的庞大。
Both from a military standpoint, but also from an economic standpoint.
无论是从军事或经济的角度来看，都是。
So working together, and this is why we are here today, sir, in person, to tell you we are friends of Taiwan, that we support Taiwan, and united, we will protect Taiwan from the Communist Chinese Party and promote peace, freedom, and democracy, the values that both of our countries hold so dear.
而今天我们人来到现场，就是要面对面的让游院长知道， 我们是台湾的朋友，我们支持台湾，我们大家只要团结在一起对抗中共，我们就能够继续捍卫这一块自由、民主、和平的土地。
Thank you so much, sir.
谢谢尤院长，谢谢大家。Thank you.
接下来是媒体提问的时间，由于时间的关系，将开放我方及美方的媒体以交叉的方式各4题的提问。我方的题目请容我代为朗读。Now moving along to our session, it's open to questions from the media. Due to time constraints, we will open 4 questions from Taiwanese media and U.S. media respectively. Each question will be chosen from both sides by turns. I will read the questions collected in advance, and for those which are unable to submit it in advance, I will ask the media friends to read your questions personally. 第一题是来自民视及中央社的媒体提问，想请教主席，在蔡总统与麦卡锡众议长会面引起中国严正抗议后的时机，您率团来台是否有希望释放什么样的讯息给台湾人民与中国政府？而蔡麦会后，中国动作频频，除了现场找人抗议外，还启动台海中北部联合巡航。这次多达8位重量级议员访台，行前是否有感受到来自中国的压力？中国方面是否有抗议？各位议员认为此行最大的意义为何？
I would like to ask the members of the delegation if you wouldn't mind to come forward and be recognized and help me out with these tough questions.
我想要邀请我们的代表团的成员上台，在这边，首先让大家都能够看看各位，再来最重要的就是等一下媒体的问题，要是我无法回答的话，要帮我个忙。
President, you would also like to invite the legislators to the front to join the press conference.
So the first question comes from Formosa TV and Central News Agency. The meeting between President Tsai Ing-wen and U.S. House Speaker McCarthy led to China's protest, and we would like to know, Chairman McCall, you're leading a delegation to Taiwan. Do you wish to convey any message to the people of Taiwan and to the government of China? And also, after the meeting between President Tsai and Speaker McCarthy, China took several actions, including rallying protesters outside the venue where they met. And China also launched a joint patrol across the Taiwan Strait. This time, you're leading a delegation of 8 very important Congress members to Taiwan. Before the trip, did you feel any pressure from China? Did China protest? And for all the members, what is the most significant meaning of your trip?
Well, let me just first say, as Speaker McCarthy said, we have every right to meet with President Tsai and with the Taiwanese people and their government. That is what we are doing here today, to show our strong support for Taiwan. These intimidation practices, unfortunately, are nothing new. There has been intimidation applied, and there's a threat to board vessels in the Taiwan Straits under a quote-unquote law enforcement exercise. If that happens in international waters, that becomes a serious problem. As I said yesterday, it would be a serious mistake on the part of Communist China. We would hope that in the spirit of peace that they would not engage in these practices. It only makes us more determined than ever to stand with Taiwan. And with that, I'd like to, if I can, yield to the chairwoman of the Indo-Pacific Subcommittee for her response to that.
首先，我要重申，正如我们的麦卡锡议长所说过的，我们有权利，而且也有这样的自由，可以与蔡总统会面，与台湾人民会面，与台湾的政府会面。这也是为什么我们今天会在这里表达我们对台湾强力的支持。我必须要说，中共的这些威吓手段其实也不是什么新把戏了，在过去他们也有过许多的威胁，甚至这一次在台海这边以所谓执法的名义来进行巡航等等的这些行为，要是真的发生在国际海域上的话，都会是造成非常严重的后果。 显然是他们下错的一步棋。我们真的希望秉持着和平的精神，他们不该采取这些行动。这些行动只会促使我们更加坚定地与台湾站在一起。那么接下来，我其实想要把时间交给我们的众议院外交委员会印太小组的主席金应玉主席来回答这个问题。
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman, for yielding. Echoing Chairman McCall's words of showing our commitment to show that Taiwan is the strongest ally with the United States, and the reason why our delegation has traveled. Before we came to Taiwan, we came through Japan and South Korea, rallying our friends in the Indo-Pacific countries and asking them questions about whether or not they will be with the United States should there be a conflict in the Taiwan Strait. We are traveling around to see how they feel, what they think about us working together, because it is very important to show unified voice, unified position, and show a very strong message to the Communist Party in China that we will be here to defend and support, to protect the freedom and democracy and human rights that Taiwan and the United States jointly hold dear.
非常感谢我们这一次的主席给我这个时间。那么我也要呼吁刚刚麦考尔主席议员所说过的，我们今天来这里就是要展现我们的承诺，展现台湾与美国之间盟友之间的关系。在到台湾之前，我们其实还去了日本以及南韩。我们希望在印太这个地方与我们的盟友对话，我们都会问他们的问题是：如果今天真的台海这边发生了任何的冲突，他们是否会与美国站在一起对抗？我们要了解他们对于这些事情的看法，以及他们是否会愿意与我们一起合作。我们认为要能够有一致的立场，而且对外一致的发声、一致的口径，这是很重要的，才能让中共知道我们今天来这里就是要支持台湾。我们随时都会出现来支持台湾、保护台湾、保护我们台湾与美国共同相信的价值，也就是自由、民主、人权。
So I just want to close by saying there are a number of things that the United States Congress has already done to show our support for Taiwan by passing that Arms Export Delivery Act to ensure that we get an answer as to why there is a delay, and we will expedite ways to provide the arms that Taiwan needs to defend yourself. And also we just passed the Taiwan Non-Discrimination Act to ensure that Taiwan can also have a position in the International Monetary Fund. We will also continue to show our support by supporting Taiwan to participate in the international organizations like we've already done in past with Taiwan's observer status in the World Health Organization, ICAO legislation, International Civil Aviation Organization, which we're working on. And we just passed to support Taiwan to show that China, CCP, cannot dominate with their coercion using their special status as a developing country. So we passed just last week before we came here. The PRC is not a developing country. We don't want them to use that status to get the special treatment and get low interest or no interest loans from the international organizations like World Bank and use that to reinvest in our Asian countries just to coerce them and expand their influence in the Indo-Pacific. These are just some of the things we're already exhibiting that we are with you. Taiwan is our ally. Thank you so much for having us.
最后，我只想要跟各位分享的是，我们在美国国会这边已经采取了非常多的行动来表达我们对于台湾实际的支持。首先，我们近期通过了武器出口交付解决方案法，希望能够解决目前我们碰到的武器交付的这些延迟状况，希望能够尽快的将台湾所需要的武器能够送达台湾。再来，我们近期也刚通过了不歧视台湾法案，我们希望能够支持台湾加入例如国际货币基金这样的组织。此外，我们也持续不断的支持台湾能够参与各式各样的国际组织，包含过去我们有支持台湾重新恢复在世界卫生组织观察员的身份， 还有我们也支持台湾能够去加入国际的航空组织，这一些都是要让中共知道，他们不能够再用这样子的威吓方式，利用他们所谓发展中国家这个特殊地位，来取得这些不同的特殊待遇。我们近期也在国会才刚通过决定中国不再是发展中国家，他们不能够再因为是发展中国家的这样子的特殊地位呢，取得包含低利率甚至是零利率等等的特殊待遇，而省下的经费，他们却用来在亚洲国家这一边持续的投资，利用这种方式来去威吓这边的国家，而且持续在印太区域实施他们不同的这些影响力。我们透过等等的这些不同的方式来实际的表达，我们与台湾站在一起，我们是台湾的盟友。
Thank you. The next, second question goes to the U.S. media. Is there any question from the media? Okay.
I believe we have Aisha. Oh, I'm sorry, Olivia Beavers, Politico.
Okay. Sorry, just a kind reminder. Please tell us to which media you are belong and who you are asking. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Olivia Beavers. I'm with Politico. Thank you for letting us participate today. My question goes to Speaker Yu. With the upcoming presidential elections, are you at all concerned about Chinese government doing a cyber attack or disinformation campaign to influence the election? And if so, what is your plan to respond to it?
大家好，我是 Politico 的 Olivia。我的问题是要问尤院长，那么2024年的总统大选在即，你们是否担心中国这一边会采取任何的包含假讯息作战或是网络攻击等等的这些行动来影响大选？如果担心的话，请问你们有采取什么样的一些措施来反制？
我们是担心的，因为中共对台湾它的打击或者渗透是无所不用其极，所以平常都是这样。那到大选的时候，他会更加变本加厉，所以我们是有担心的。
Yes, we are somewhat worried that China will increase the intensity of its attack or infiltration against Taiwan. But those are what China has been doing normally. But during election time, China will definitely intensify those attacks and infiltration. So yes, we are a bit worried.
那这个部分在2020年的总统大选之前，事实上我们那时候已经有通过一些法律，叫做反渗透法，我记得好像无法的反渗透法。那单那个目前看起来是还不够，所以行政部门已经做了，他们包括我们的数位科技部相关的部会，包括国安单位，他们在这方面都采取非常多的措施，然后也跟这个友邦国家大家互相联合来想办法抵抗这些假讯息。那这个部分又在行政部门我是立法部门，我就比较没有那么深入，不过我们行政部门是有在做的。
So before the presidential election in 2020, we passed an Anti-Infiltration Act. However, it seems that this act is not enough. So currently, our executive branch is working together, coordinating efforts between agencies such as the Ministry of Digital Affairs and our national security agencies. They are taking all the necessary measures to counter disinformation and similar attacks. We are also working with like-minded countries together to fight against disinformation. But these efforts fall in the purview of our executive branch, and I serve in the legislature, so I cannot give you the details, but I can assure you our executive branch is working on that.
Next question is from Aisha Hasni with Fox.
尤院长，我们是来自同一个媒体的。我想要问的是，台湾这边有人对福斯新闻表示，贺组对乌克兰并没有发挥作用。1年后，乌克兰仍旧在使用由美国提供的武器来作战。所以我们想要问的问题是，如果今天中共真的进攻了，那么尤院长这边是否欢迎美国的军队进驻来协助攻打？
我们欢迎任何友邦国家，大家一同来抵抗这些对外扩张或者说威权独裁的政府对外的侵略。因为台湾是一个爱好和平，是一个自由民主人权的国家。那我们是反对战争的，我们是渴望和平的。那如果有任何国家他们要侵犯一个自由民主人权的国家，那我想全世界的民主同盟国大家应该要共同起来对抗，唯有这样才能够确保普世价值、自由民主人权在这个世界上能够越来越壮大，越受到发扬。
Of course, we welcome any friendly nations to come work together with us to fight against any sort of expansion or aggression by authoritarian regimes, because Taiwan is a freedom, democracy, human-loving country that respects human rights, and we do not want war, we pursue peace. If any nation attempts to violate these values and invade such a nation, then the entire democratic alliance worldwide should stand together to fight against it, so that we can make sure universal values such as freedom, democracy, and human rights can continue to flourish.
我想在这边要特别补充一下，就是说我们全球的民主国家一定要深究中共政权的贬值。中国政权贬值，它除了共产主义这个集权体制以外，它还结合了中国传统政治思想里面的天无二治，土沃王。这个普天之下莫非王土，率土之滨莫非王臣，这样的政治思想。所以在中共他们的政治思想里面，它是一个天朝，任何国家除非你臣服，不放过去。所以大家一定要有这样，它这种侵略的本质是永远不变的，你即使投降也没有用。
I would like to add that the entire democratic alliance around the world need to understand clearly the nature of the CCP government. It's a combination of communism, authoritarianism, and totalitarianism, but it also has the traditional Chinese mentality behind all that, and this mentality is that there will be no two suns in one sky, and there can only be one king in a land, and every nation on one land belongs to the empire, the kingdom, and all the people in the kingdom are subject to the king. So China sees itself as a celestial empire, and it wants everyone to be its subject, and unless you do so, or even if you do so, China will not let you go, because the nature of the CCP is an aggressor, and even if people surrender to it, China will not give up on oppressing them.
我最后再补充一句话，就是说，雷根总统维护和平必须要壮大自己，所以台湾知道我们要维持台海和平我们一定要壮大自己，不能寄望对方的仁慈，这个不可能的。唯有备战，才能够避战。那除了壮大自己以外，我们需要全球的民主国家、自由民主的国家，大家来支持台湾，来帮助台湾壮大，让对方不敢侵略。
And I would like to also mention that President Reagan talked about peace through strength, and only by becoming powerful can we deter our enemy. And that is the same with cross-strait security. Taiwan needs to have strength. Taiwan cannot rely on the mercy, or we cannot rely on the mercy of the adversary. We need to prepare for war in order to avoid one. And in addition to that, we need all the democracies in the world to support Taiwan to help us gain strength to deter any potential aggression.
谢谢院长支持。Sorry for my interruption. Because I still have 3 questions from Taiwanese media, I will give 2 questions from Taiwanese media first and come back to the media from the U.S. Thank you. 第3题是来自自由时报的媒体。主席您好，欢迎您率团访问台湾。此行您率团访问印太区域，首站在日本造访第7舰队，在南韩也造访非军事区 DMZ， 并与两国元首会晤。最近中国与北韩频频挑衅，民主同盟的威慑力是否仍有不足？您认为中国威胁是否被夸大了，还是被低估了？台日韩与美国之间在安全议题上还需要做哪些努力？此外，今年是美韩同盟70周年，南韩总统尹锡悦月底即将访美，并在国会发表演说。作为美国重要的民主伙伴，台湾总统蔡英文只能过境美国，也不能踏入大华府区域。您认为是否应解禁台湾政府元首、立法院长等高层进入华府访问之限制？台湾旅行法是否应该更彻底的落实？谢谢。
This question comes from Liberty Times. Chairman McCall, welcome, and I welcome the delegation to Taiwan. Chairman McCall, you're leading a delegation to visit the Indo-Pacific, and you visited the 7th Fleet in Japan and the Korean DMZ in South Korea, and you met with both heads of states of those countries. We are seeing more provocations by China and South Korea. Is there not enough deterrence from the Democratic Alliance? In your view, China's threat overrated or underrated? In terms of security issues, what more should Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. do? And also, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the U.S.-South Korean alliance. The South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will be visiting the U.S. by the end of the year and delivering a speech at the Congress. However, Taiwan, as an important democratic partner of the U.S., its President Taiwan can only have a stopover in the U.S. and cannot enter Washington, D.C. Do you think that restrictions should be lifted so that high-level officials from Taiwan can visit D.C.? And should the Taiwan Travel Act be more thoroughly implemented?
No, thank you for that. I'm going to answer the first part and then turn to my colleague, the ranking member on the Indo-Pacific Subcommittee. This is a very important trip for the reasons that you stated in the question. We went to Japan, South Korea. We had a post conference in Hawaii, stopped in Guam, where the B-52s are. But these conversations with our allies in the region are extremely important.
好，非常感谢您的问题。那么我会先回答第一个部分。后面的部分我交给我的同仁来回答。这一趟出访非常的重要，而原因您刚才都已经说了。我们这一次造访了南韩，我们在夏威夷造访了这个印太司令部，还有在造访了关岛 B52， 主要就在那边。我们这一趟与我们所有盟友的对话是非常重要的。
Communist China poses long-term the greatest national security threat to the United States and to the free world.
中共长期以来对于美国以及整个自由世界的国家安全的威胁都是非常显著的。
So the purpose of this trip was to talk to our allies in the region because these discussions are not taking place, and we thought it was very important that we as leaders in Congress engage with leadership in our allied nations like Japan and South Korea. We're also talking to the Philippines because in the event of a conflict, and I believe it is very important that we get support from our allies in the region, just like Australia has pledged their support.
这一趟行程呢，我们主要就是希望跟我们区域内的这些盟友对话，因为我们发现我们并没有进行这样子的对话，因此我们认为身为国会议员，我们这些主要的领导者，我们必须要出来跟我们的盟友的这些领袖好好的对话。除了日本、韩国、南韩之外，我们同时也跟菲律宾在对谈。我们认为，如果今天有任何的冲突发生了，我们必须要获得我们这个区域内所有盟友的支持，这一点是非常重要的。就像澳洲也已经表明他们会支持。
I'd like to yield to Mr. Rami Bera.
接下来我把时间交给贝拉议员。
Let me answer the question this way. Visiting Japan, visiting Korea, being here in Taiwan, these are all vibrant democracies. These are places that understand the rule of law. These are places where their citizens, their individuals have the ability to live their lives and reach their full prosperity. It's important for those countries to all stand together and maintain what has been a prosperous last 50 years of peace, stability, of prosperity here in this region. So when we talk about it, nobody is seeking conflict. The status quo has actually been beneficial to the people of Taiwan, to Japan, to Korea, to the United States, and to the people of China. They've prospered in these last 50 years. So again, this is about strongly standing together on these bedrock principles that have been beneficial to all the countries in Asia, but also across this world. That's what this is about. That is what speaking with one voice is, to maintain that prosperity so our children and grandchildren can gain from that. The status quo has changed recently because of a Russian invasion in Ukraine. Ukraine did not seek this conflict. I think it is very important for democratic, freedom-loving people to stand together to say that isn't what we want in the 21st century. That's why we're here in Taiwan. And the message to the people of Taiwan is this is incredibly important. Obviously, be prepared to defend yourself, but let's work together. We don't see conflict. Competition is fine. It makes all of us better. But what we seek is an architecture and a status quo that has benefited the entire world. So that's why it's important for us to have these conversations with freedom-loving nations, have these conversations to determine what the future looks like. And that's what we've been doing on this trip as we travel around the region. Thank you.
我这么回答好了。我们这一次造访了日本，造访了南韩，还有台湾这些地方，因为这些国家都是在民主发展非常的蓬勃，非常了解法治，而且这个地方的人民市民都能够非常繁荣的经济繁荣的生活着。我们希望能够让大家站在一起，然后维持我们这50年来我们可以看到的和平，这个区域的和平稳定以及繁荣，就是因为我们站在一起，没有任何的，我们也不想要任何的冲突，因为维持现状其实对大家都是好的，对日本、对南韩、对台湾、对美国整体来说都是非常有益的，甚至中国也是因为这50年来的和平，他们也才能够如此的发展，所以对他们来说其实也是很重要的。因此，我们基于这样子的原则而站在一起，让大家知道这不只是对亚洲好，对全世界来说都是好事，这才是我们能够有统一口径、一致的一个声音，让大家知道我们唯有维持这样的现状，才能够将如此繁荣发展的现况能够维持，让我们的后代也能够享有。而这样子的维持现状呢，在这里我们可以看到近期来已经改变了。在欧洲这边有俄罗斯进攻乌克兰，因此我们希望对所有的爱好民主自由的人民向他们发声，让他们知道我们不希望改变这样子的现状，我们希望能够维持自由的自由繁荣的这个发展。而对台湾人民这边，我们希望传达一个最重要的讯息，就是是的，台湾人必须要懂得如何保护自己，而且如何防卫。虽然可能会有冲突，而现况开始改变，但是只要我们一起合作，我们可以努力的维持这样子的现况，而这样子的现况维持对整个世界来说都是好的，对所有爱好自由的国家来说 也都是好的，而一起对话，我们才可以一起讨论出我们的未来希望发展成什么样子。
Thank you。第5题呢，也是来自台湾媒体的提问，来自中央社的媒体。美方曾多次提到维护台海和平需透过强化实力，访团成员是否有意在国会推动哪些相关法案，加强对台军售与军事合作，或加速武器交运给台湾？另外，台湾占半导体产业重要角色，但台积电创办人张忠谋日前提出警示，美国政府并未把台湾列入有案外包供应链，请教主席对此的看法，以及国会是否可能采取行动向行政部门反映？谢谢。
The U.S. has mentioned several times that it takes increasing strength to protect peace across the Taiwan Strait. Is the delegation planning to promote any related bills to increase arms sales to Taiwan or military cooperation with Taiwan or speed up the delivery of arms sales to Taiwan? In addition, Taiwan plays an important role in the semiconductor industry. However, the founder of TSMC, Morris Chang, recently gave a warning saying that the U.S. government is not including Taiwan into its friendshoring policy. And I would like to ask Chairman McCall, what's your view on that? And is the Congress taking action to make sure the U.S. executive branch knows about this problem?
Yeah, let me just say on the weapons issue, I sign off on those deliveries, and we are doing everything in our power to expedite this. I know the delegation, I think we're in broad agreement that this absolutely needs to be done to provide the deterrence for Taiwan to promote peace in the region. Peace through strength is real. And that's why we need to harden Taiwan. I think several ideas, without going into a lot of detail, reprioritizing weapon sales to Taiwan, being in a high-risk area, high-threat area. And the other one are what we call third-party sales. Other countries that have these weapons, if they were given permission by the executive branch, we can move those sales forward into Taiwan. So there are several things we can do to expedite the delivery of these weapons, which I would argue is critically important in our deterrence and the deterrence factor to avoid a conflict. As Ami Berra said, nobody wants conflict. We want peace and prosperity, and we want to do everything we can to deter a very aggressive nation, Communist China, from ever thinking about landing on the shores of this beautiful island. Because that would be a serious mistake for everybody. And on the, I will yield to Mr. Frenchill. Oh, yeah.
Can I translate first?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. 好，首先针对武器这一个部分呢，我们其实都已经有签署了一些法案。我们现在尽一切的所能，希望能够尽快加速交付这些武器。我想我们这一次来的所有的代表团，大家都同意，我们必须要能够给予台湾这一些武器，才能够让台湾有真正嚇阻的能力，才能够进一步的推广和平。要先维护和平，必须先强大自我，这件事情确实是真的，所以我们必须要能够强化台湾。那我们的做法有几个，包含第一个，我们可能重新排列一些武器交付的优先顺序，希望能够尽快把一些武器交付到台湾这边，因为台湾现在真的是处于非常高风险，而且面临非常高威胁的一个地带。再来第二个方法，我们可能在寻求第三方的军售，希望可以透过不同的方式来交付这些武器，但这个还需要我们的行政部门能够同意的话，或许我们就可以进行。我们要让大家知道，这是非常嚇阻是非常重要的一件事情。我们必须要有嚇阻的能力，才能够避免冲突。没有人想要冲突，我们都希望能够维持和平、维持繁荣。而我们必须要传达的讯息，就是让中共知道，他绝对不要想能够登陆这块美丽的宝岛。他如果真的这么做的话，会犯下非常大的错误。
And let me just quickly say that we had breakfast this morning with executives in the semiconductor industry, including TSMC, Global Wafers, and others, who are expanding in the United States of America. In fact, TSMC has a massive expansion in Arizona, Global Wafers in my home state of Texas. So I think they're very excited about these economic alliances that we are building, and that will give strength between, the two countries, moving forward. So I think what they were asking for primarily was an end to the double taxation issue, where they're taxed both in Taiwan and the United States. So that is something we want to go back and work on.
再来，今天早上参叙的时候呢，我们与一些半导体产业也有一起碰面，跟他们的高阶主管碰面，其中就包含台积电、包含 Global Wafer 这些国家，这些公司他们也现在都进驻美国，而且不断在扩张。像台积电在亚利桑那州有非常大的扩厂计划 ，Global Wafer 在我自己的家乡德州这个地方也有一些扩厂计划。就我们今天早上参叙的感觉呢，我觉得大家对于我们建立起这个经济上的这个盟友关系都是非常期待，而且非常看好的。这样子可以进一步强化我们两国之间的关系。但大家明显都比较担心的就是双重课税这件事，可能在台湾、在美国都会遭到课税，而这是我们回去之后会尽力想办法帮忙解决的问题。
Thank you. The sixth question goes to the U.S. Madia, please.
Jenny Leonard from Bloomberg.
这是来自 Bloomberg 彭博新闻的 Jenny。
Thank you very much. This question is for you, Speaker Yo. Are you disappointed that Speaker McCarthy, as your counterpart, did not travel to Taiwan, and do you want him to come visit as soon as possible? And then would you like the U.S. to move away from its strategic ambiguity and closer to strategic clarity on its Taiwan policy? Thank you.
这个问题是要问尤院长的。您是否对于麦卡锡议长没有来台访问感到失望？是否会希望他能够尽快造访台湾？再来另一个问题就是，您是否希望美国他现在采取一个比较策略性模糊的立场，是不是能够把它变成比较策略性更清楚的立场？
谢谢你的问题。我想我从第二个问题先答好了。第二个问题我是觉得过去叫做战略模糊，那很多人都希望说战略清晰一点，但是事实上我是觉得现在战略虽然没有讲这句话，但是现在美国的战略已经蛮清晰了，就是说以我个人的看法已经蛮清晰了。
Thank you for your questions. I would like to start by answering the second question. In the past, there was this strategic ambiguity, and many people want to see strategic clarity. However, in my personal view, I think that even though it's not stated clearly, but we can tell that the U.S. strategies are very clear right now.
那有关你刚才第一点的部分当然我当然是欢迎麦卡锡议长能够到台湾，当然欢迎。事实上在去年9月那时候他还没有当选议长的时候，我就曾经以台湾国会院长的身份，那致函邀请他来台访问。之前那时候还不是议长，但是已经有邀请了。
As for your first question, of course, yes, I welcome Speaker McCarthy to visit Taiwan. In fact, last September, before Kevin McCarthy became the speaker, I extended an invitation to him to ask him to visit Taiwan. That was before he became the U.S. House Speaker.
我知道麦卡锡议长他是一个信守承诺的人，他说要来台湾就是一定会来。只是那个时间现在还未定而已。
I understand that Speaker McCarthy is a person of promise. If he said that he would come to Taiwan, then he will come to Taiwan. It's just a matter of timing. We are not sure when that time will come.
我借这个机会也要奉劝中共，因为中共这一次这样做，就是说 有关于麦卡锡要来台湾这件事情他们反应过度，甚至蔡总统到这个雷根这个图书馆，在那边跟麦卡锡这个议长见面，像他们的反应都过度，他们这个反应过度只是让台湾的国际能见度更高而已，等于是在帮助台湾。
I would also like to take this opportunity to tell the CCP that they are overreacting about McCarthy's visit to Taiwan or President Tsai's meeting with McCarthy in the Reagan Library. Their overreaction actually helps Taiwan to bring up Taiwan's visibility around the world. They're actually helping us by overreacting.
在东方的政治哲学里面，有一种叫做顺应自然之道。顺应自然之道可以无为而无不为。
In the traditional Oriental philosophy for politics, we admire the way of moving towards the what's natural. We follow what's natural, and by doing that, we can either make action or make no action, and that's how our politics work.
所以中共这一次就是违反自然之道，所以他把事情整个事情呢就弄巧成拙。
So if we follow the natural way, then everything will come to a successful end. However, what China did this time was they went against what's natural, so they actually made a mistake by trying to achieve what they wanted.
因为麦卡锡议长他来台湾终究会来，并没有因为这样不来。那他如果直接就让他来，在这个全世界的媒体的曝光就是这样一次。结果他现在的打压，让蔡总统在美国跟麦卡锡议长见面，那这个也是创历史纪录。然后又会有第二次。那现在蔡总统这个我们蔡英文女士她变成台湾总统，现在以前只有我记得只有几个人在讲嘛，蓬佩奥国务卿几个人讲，现在已经变成全球媒体都在称呼蔡英文为这个台湾总统。所以中共他们这些就是这个事件是弄巧成拙，然后等于是帮助台湾在国际上的能见度更高，台湾的国际形象更高。所以讲到这里，我可能要借这个机会感谢一下习近平吧。
So China cannot stop Speaker McCarthy from coming to Taiwan. However, if China simply just let McCarthy come to Taiwan, then it would be probably just a one-time thing, and the media coverage would be gone very soon. However, because of China's pressure, the whole world is witnessing this historic meeting between President Tsai and Speaker McCarthy, and there is going to be a second meeting. And in the past, before Madam Tsai Ing-wen became the president of Taiwan, or after she became the president of Taiwan, not many people around the world called her Madam President. It was probably just Pompeo and some few politicians. But because of China's pressure, the whole world and the entire international media is calling Tsai Ing-wen the president of Taiwan. So China's actions actually made a fool of itself, and China is helping Taiwan increase its international visibility and increasing Taiwan's international image. So actually here, I would like to thank Xi Jinping for that.
Thank you, 习近平。
谢谢院长。第7题是来自大纪元时报的提问，在应对中共的经济胁迫，主席有没有什么方法可以让自由世界团结起来去对抗这样的威胁恫吓？ The 7th question is from Taiwan media in English. Please let me read the question. With regard to the CCP's practice of economic coercion, is there any way for the free world to unite to counter that? Thank you.
With that, I want to yield to Mr. French Hill, who is an expert on this topic.
这一题我想要交给我们的希尔众议员来回答，因为他是这方面的专家。
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the very kind welcome here. We've talked about military deterrence, and it's equally important that we have economic deterrence. And that's been referenced by our chairman in his opening remarks. And economic deterrence is important because when you look at the economies here on the island of Taiwan, you look at Japan, you look at the European Union, the United States, that accounts for more than 50% of two-way trade with the mainland China. That's an amazingly important thing to think about.
好，非常感谢主席给我这个时间，我也要感谢尤院长先前的欢迎。那么就这一题呢，我们之前讲到军事的吓阻，其实经济上的吓阻也是同等重要的。正如我们的主席在他的刚才的致辞当中也有提到的，祭出经济的这个吓阻呢，其实非常的重要。我们可以看到，不管是在台湾、日本、整个欧盟或者是美国，跟中国之间的这种双边贸易关系，其实可能都占了50%。
The pandemic, China's abrogation of the treaty with Hong Kong, Putin's illegal invasion into Ukraine, all have galvanized the free world, the democracies, and the multinational businesses in those countries to reassess their relationship with authoritarian countries like China.
在我们考量到这一次的疫情，还有在香港反送中的事件，甚至是俄罗斯进攻乌克兰这等等的这些状况呢，其实都让全球爱好自由民主的国家重新的审慎评估以及考量自己国家与这些外国其他国家之间的往来。
So you will see a robust response from the private sector to reassess their supply chains that are dependent on China. And I believe you'll see a robust response at the G7 meeting and the ASEAN meeting. We're particularly pleased with Prime Minister Kishida in Japan and his leadership of the G7 this year, and the importance to talk about not only the military alliance in a free and open Indo-Pacific, but also the ability to craft an economic deterrence to bad behavior here in the Strait or anywhere else in the world, including in North Asia, and the risk of North Korea.
所以我们可以看到很多私人企业，他们已经开始审慎重新评估他们来自中国的这些供应链的来源。甚至我们可以看到 G7 的大会，甚至是东南亚国协的大会上面，这一些他们都有所讨论。我们可以看到，来自日本 Kishida 这个主席，他们也有提出的不同的看法。所以我们可以看到，在整个自由印太地区，我们开始建立起这种军事联盟之外呢，其实大家也开始探讨关于经济吓阻上面可以造成的效果，不管是针对台海这个地方的状况，甚至是全球到北美那边，如果我们考量到北韩会带来的威胁的话。
Thank you. The last question goes to the U.S. media, please.
So we have Jerry Dunleavy from the Washington Examiner.
好，这是 Jerry Dunleavy， 他来自华盛顿这边的报纸。
Thank you, Speaker. My name is Jerry Dunleavy. I'm a reporter of the Washington Examiner, and it's an honor to be here. My question is, does Taiwan, the Taiwan government, do you see Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a wake-up call for Taiwan? And if so, what actions have you been taking and will you take to deter a possible Chinese invasion of Taiwan? And I was also interested more generally in what you think of the growing alliance between Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, and specifically what you think that means for Taiwan. Thank you, sir.
好，非常感谢主席给我这个机会。尤院长您好，我是 Jerry Dunleavy， 我来自 Washington Examiner。那我的问题是要问台湾人民这边，对于甚至是台湾政府，是否是俄罗斯进攻乌克兰为对台湾来说的一记警钟？如果是的话，那 那么台湾是否有考虑采取什么样的行动，或是已经开始采取什么样的行动来去遏阻可能的进攻状况？再来就是想问尤院长，对于普丁以及习近平日益就是走得越来越近这样子的关系，你认为对台湾来说是有什么样的影响？
对于整个世界局势的变化以台湾是一个爱好和平的国家，当然台湾人民会担心现在这个包括中国跟俄罗斯的他们的合作，要共同推动百年变局，像这样我们当然都会担心的。
When it comes to the development of international situations, of course, the peace-loving people of Taiwan will be worried about the increasing China-Russia cooperation and their attempt to make changes unseen in 100 years.
但是如果说用去年就2022 2月24号这个俄罗斯入侵乌克兰这样一件事情然后台湾会有什么感想？当然台湾跟全球的民主国家都会感到错愕，就是说怎么忽然间要打就打，所以更感觉到威权体制国家他们的不可测，他们随时在准备侵犯别的国家他们什么时候行动根本没有办法预料。
If you look at Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which started last year on February 24th, it was an event that was very shocking, not only to the people of Taiwan, but also to the entire democratic alliance around the world, because we were startled at how come a regime can start a war anytime just like that. So this shows us the unpredictability of authoritarianism, and authoritarian states are always ready to invade other countries, and there's no telling when they're going to invade another country.
那有关于乌俄战争我是觉得它对全球的这个提示应该可以这样讲，就是说一方面让全球觉得就全球的大家都希望和平，那全球发现这个和平是这么脆弱，就是说随时应该全球民主国家大家应该随时要警惕，像这些威权体国家，他们随时有可能侵略国家让民主国家大家更加团结，更加警惕自己。
So the lesson we can take from the Russia-Ukraine war is that we know, of course, the entire world wants peace, but we have realized that peace is very fragile, and the democratic alliance around the world needs to stay alert, because we need to be prepared for any potential invasion by any authoritarian aggressors. It may occur anytime, and we need to be prepared and stay alert, and we need to work even more closely together in solidarity and stay united.
所以乌俄战争让台湾很多人民觉得说，中共是随时有可能打台湾的，但是也让许多人觉得说，普丁他原来是想一个礼拜，他要速战速决，一个礼拜就把这个乌克兰拿下来，速战速决，但是他到现在1年多了没有办法，所以普丁他等于吃东西，觉得乌克兰这个是很好的食物，吃东西没有想到它是像鱼骨头一样，吃到里面就哽在喉咙，现在吞不下去，吐不出来，所以我想这样也会让习近平更加有警惕。
So the war in Ukraine let the people of Taiwan realize that CCP may invade Taiwan at any moment. However, we are also seeing that the war in Ukraine, actually Vladimir Putin wanted to finish the war in just 1 week, but it's been over a year and he can't end the war and take Ukraine. So in my view, Putin sees Ukraine, Putin actually saw Ukraine as a delicious meal, but after taking action and starting a war, he realized that it's actually fishbone that's now stuck in his throat, and he can't swallow it, and he can't spit it out. So I believe this is a warning for Xi Jinping as well.
这个就是刚才我们的主席麦考尔主席他所讲的后主，台湾只要有办法变成他吞不下的鱼骨头，他就不敢来打。
So this goes in line with what Chairman McCall just talked about, the deterrence. If Taiwan can become some sort of fishbones that China would not want to swallow, can't swallow, then China would not dare to attempt even invading Taiwan.
所以台湾除了有海峡天险，就台湾海峡这个天险之外，然后又有美国友邦国家提供我们很多进步的武器。第三点，台湾人民现在的防卫意识很坚强，那防卫意识就是最好的国防。我觉得我们这3样都具备，那台湾就可以像过去有人讲形容台湾是豪猪或者刺猬的战略。如果这3点我们防卫是够强，那这3点美国的武器都能够如期提供给我们，那我们固守这个海峡天险。那这样的话，台湾就是这个刺猬战略。习近平他只要聪明的话，他就不敢打过来。
So Taiwan has 3 important elements to defend itself. First, we have the natural protection of the Taiwan Strait. And second, we have advanced weapons coming from the US and other like-minded friendly nations. And thirdly, the people of Taiwan now have a very strong will to protect themselves. And in my view, a strong will to defend oneself is the best form of national defense. And if those 3 elements are satisfied, then Taiwan can become what people call a porcupine. And on top of that, if the U.S. arms sales to Taiwan can be delivered on time, along with our Taiwan Strait, I believe that strategically speaking, if Xi Jinping is smart enough, he will not attempt to attack Taiwan.
Thank you.
谢谢院长。也谢谢在场的所有媒体朋友，我们今天的媒体联访到此结束。现在我们再一次的邀请所有的长官贵宾在台前一起拍照留念。Thanks all the media friends for your questions. That's all for today's press conference. Now I would like to invite all the distinguished guests for group photos again. Thank you. Okay, please look at the cameras in front. Okay, let's make a thumbs up gesture. 让我们比一个赞的手势。我们的媒体朋友是否都有拍到我们的合影了呢？好。OK。好，谢谢所有的媒体朋友，谢谢长官贵宾。再次感谢今日所有长官贵宾的莅临。现在有请我们的工作人员引导访团一起离场。Once again, I would like to thank you for today's participation. Please follow with the staff to move to the next venue. Thank you.